second.
No, wait, we're talking about public school.
One moment.
All right.
So now you've asked me questions.
Sure.
I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
No, that's not a woke reboot of Simple Jack. That's Joy Reid talking to Tiffany Justice from Moms for Liberty about, let's call them interesting books available in public schools. Welcome to Nerk News, the only unconventionally conservative show on YouTube because I say so. Today, we're taking a few minutes to break down an interview on the Readout. Is that seriously the name of her show? Okay, on the Readout. She better not say that at the end of each episode.
Question I'm asking is, what is the expertise that you have and other Moms for Liberty advocates have to decide that a book, an award-winning book like All Boys Aren't Blue, isn't appropriate for students to read? What is your expertise?
What a tragic story of a young man who's anally raped by his adult family member. So you have incest, rape, pedophilia. Joy, you said you'd let me answer, so
sure.
I'm going to answer
Please
for
do.
you. In what context is a strap-on dildo acceptable for public school? I mean, that's my question to you. Tell me what the context around the strap-on dildo or the rape of a minor child by a teacher.
Hold on a second.
No, we're talking about public school.
One moment.
Okay. None of that stuff sounds good. But to Joy's point, it did win an award. I mean, how could it have won that unless there's something deeply wrong with the people handing out the awards, huh? You ever think of that, lady? You know, what gives you the expertise to decide what kids should read? What are you, a mom?
All right.
So now you've asked me questions.
Sure.
I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
Well, who is the main character? What's the name of the main character in All Boys Aren't Blue?
You're asking me right now.
You just gave me very specific information about this book, so you're presenting yourself as somebody expert.
It's the gentleman.
Hold on. Who's the main character in the book?
The main character is the author.
What's his name?
George, I believe, is his first name.
Because you're giving me very specific information that is.
You're asking me to remember the name of an author.
You just remembered very specific things.
Joy.
Here's my question.
We're talking about
Here's my question.
You didn't answer my question.
No. I'm going to answer your question.
Great. I would love to hear that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm interviewing you, and you're not interviewing me. So let's just make sure it's a conversation. Okay.
Ha! Take that. You don't know the name of a main character in the book with all these horrific things you said. Checkmate. But seriously, this notion of banned books in schools is just a marketing ploy for childless liberal women who are going to pick this up and display it on a shelf without ever reading it. Schools have curriculums, and someone has to decide what's going to be taught. You know, kids aren't taught the totality of everything ever written. That's not how schools work.
Is that as you are not an expert in this book,
I don't have to be an expert to know that dildos aren't appropriate for public school. I mean, come on, let's get real.
This book is a full context story, as you said, of the author's experience. Why is it your right or a Moms for Liberty activist's right to say that a parent who wants their child to have access to this book, which gives a personal experience of this author, why doesn't a liberal parent, for instance, or a parent of an LGBTQ kid, why don't they have a right for their child to just have access to this book? Why is it your right to say they can't?
So, again, we're talking about incest, rape, and pedophilia.
And each parent, each parent has to decide what is appropriate for their child to read. So I want you to answer. I'm going to ask you one more time. What is your right to tell a parent who wants their child, who might feel seen by this story?
Then they can buy them the book, Joy. It's available everywhere. It doesn't need to be funded with tax dollars and available for children to read at school. And also, what makes these teachers experts any more than parents, other than the fact that half of them are perverts?
Why don't they have the right? Why don't they have the right as a parent to say, my child can have access to this book?
If a child feels seen by this story, that means that they have been the victim of a predator. That means that they have either been raped by a family member, they've experienced
and your proof of that is what?
You just said that if a child feels seen by this story. What I'm saying, Joy,
you're now making assumptions about it.
Joy, but if a child has been raped, we should do a lot better than put a book on a library
Now you're literally
shelf.
creating a story behind a child that you don't know. Let me show you.
You know, I love how she says that this woman is making up stories about hypothetical kids. But that's exactly what she was doing. That's what they do all the time. They always create fictional people that are loosely based on tropes from media they create. Here, I'll give you an example. So in some areas where counties are trying to pass a rule allowing schools to discuss and hide the gender expression of students from their parents, the argument for that was it was protecting children from parents who would abuse them if it was disclosed. Like some dad's gonna come home and find out that his kid goes by Z-Zer and just start wailing on him. That's an entire narrative they use to justify this, driven by the closed-minded, violent parent trope they portray on movies and TV. It's a statistically insignificant fiction they create to justify overruling parental rights. Now, this may seem a little dark and depressing for you, but on the bright side, only 2/3 of American kids can read properly, so, they won't know what's going on anyway. Isn't it a little odd that the same people who are trying to indoctrinate our kids can barely teach them fundamental skills? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Are you a parent? Has this stuff gone too far? Is Joy Reid wearing a wig? Let me know in the comments. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Boy!